A lot of speed.
He warming up
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up, warm up.
Some
I know one thing.
eight-year-olds. I got
If I
the
find out
8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat yo and I'm gonna beat Jaden on Love it. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know. He laughing.
Our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
You know what I mean? I was misinformed. You know, you gotta know what somebody's going through, man, or have gone through, and where they've ended up. Now, you have to understand that. You gotta understand their DNA, you know. And we as fans, we fail to realize that. We as commentators and fanboys and all that, like, we all don't.
Gervonta "Tank" Davis reacted angrily to Jake Paul. Sparring with Shakur Stevenson ahead of their upcoming fight, he stated that Jake can train with anyone he wants, but it won't make any difference, Tank insisted. That he would display his true power on fight night and dominate him in the ring. According to Tank, no amount of sparring or preparation will matter once they face off under the lights.
Don't worry about it. I don't gotta sit up here. Let anything happen, and I'ma show you and him. Bet.
It begs the question, Tank.
Boxing analysts have highlighted the irony surrounding the criticism of the Jake Paul versus Tank Davis matchup, while purists claim Tank's decision undermines boxing's integrity. Others see promotional and personal advantages in the situation. Shakur Stevenson himself acknowledged this duality, explaining that although Tank's move may frustrate traditional fans, he is still open to sparring with Jake to support the sport and remain relevant in public discussions. This tension illustrates the complex intersection of business interests, personal reputation, and fan expectations in modern boxing.
Criticism for fighting Jake Paul, but yet at the same time, he is going to fight Jake Paul. Now, what I find interesting is how people on one hand are going to criticize it, but on the other hand, try to take advantage of it for their own profit. So Shakur Stevenson, definitely for press purposes, definitely for publicity purposes, offers to get in the training camp and spar for Jake Paul. Spar Jake Paul for the Tank fight. Now, why would he be doing this? It's called copycat crap. Because the last big fight that took place, which was Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, guess what happened? Jaron Ennis went and sparred Canelo Alvarez to help Canelo Alvarez prepare for Terrence Crawford. So, do I think that is coincidental? No, I do not. I think that it is trying to have your cake and eat it too. You are trying to complain and say GervontaDavis is not a real competitive fighter, that this is a sideshow, freak show fight, but yet you want your name associated with it and you want to participate in it for your own good gain. Let me assure you that when Terrence Crawford said in an interview that he wouldn't fight Jake Paul, that's not a serious fight, and then they said, well, would you fight Jake Paul for $200 million? And he said, I'd be fighting Jake Paul.
Shakur Stevenson, a highly respected figure in boxing, expressed clear disappointment after Tank chose to fight Jake Paul instead of him. Stevenson claimed that Tank's avoidance of their matchup amounts to ducking, a move he considers disrespectful to the sport. He stressed that true champions embrace challenges head-on, and that selecting a crossover opponent over a top professional undermines boxing's credibility. His statement reignited debate over Tank's motives and the growing influence of money over honor in the sport.
Look at how Tank started acting after he made $40 million with Ryan. When he make another $40+ million with Jake,
He's gonna go make $40 million fighting Jake Paul, and he's gonna come back and fight Lamont Roach. What? He's gonna come back and fight Shakur Stevenson. What? He's not gonna fight any of those guys.
no, the only way he fight any of them guys, Turkey gonna have to hit him with the Crawford money. Cause that's the thing. You do this for a reason, bro. Like, I get it. You want him to be competitive, but his goal is money. He made 40 with Ryan plus everything in between. Now he get this 40, 50 million plus. He don't even gotta fight no more. So now if you want him to fight Shakur, give me that Canelo money, man.
In response to fans accusing him of dodging elite fighters like Shakur, Stevenson Tank Davis fired back with frustration. He asserted that he does not care about public opinion emphasizing that fans often switch allegiances after a single loss, Tank maintained that his focus remains firmly on his own career and personal ambitions rather than on pleasing critics. His remarks reveal an unapologetic mindset, one centered on independence, resilience, and control over his path in boxing.
What do you think about the rumors that came from JakePaul, Tank? Man, Tank, disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if he won't call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it. I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
Experts have observed that GervontaDavis appears increasingly motivated by financial incentives when selecting his fights. The JakePaul matchup in particular has fueled debates over whether Tank prioritizes money over legacy. Critics argue that if fans want to see him face elite opponents such as Shakur Stevenson or Lamont Roach, promoter Turk would need to offer a purse comparable to blockbuster bouts like Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. At this stage in his career, Tank's decisions seem driven more by profit than by the pursuit of competitive glory.
Gervonta, a lot of boxing fans aren't happy with the fact you take this fight rather than the road rematch fights with the likes of Devin Haney, Kia Vimo, etc. What do you make of that reaction? Can we still expect to see those fights?
Why should I care what they think? When y'all switch every. Somebody can have a bad day and y'all switch it on who y'all favorite fighter is or who this person is supposed to fight. Like y'all need to sit back and be fans and just enjoy the sport. Like y'all even talk about people's personal lives. Like why when it comes to that?
Actor and martial artist Michael Jai White weighed in on the ongoing debate, arguing that JakePaul, despite his popularity, can never be regarded as a legitimate boxing champion. White drew a clear line between exhibition matches or crossover events and sanctioned championship fights recognized by major boxing organizations. His comments echo a wider sentiment among professionals who see Paul's bouts as entertainment-driven rather than demonstrations of genuine championship skill.
Do you think that JakePaul could win a legitimate boxing title?
No, because he's so far behind someone of his equal age who's been doing it for a very long time. He started very late. That's why I applaud exactly what he's doing. I think he should be doing exactly what he's doing. If he fought a legitimate, top 10 cruiserweight, I will shut up if he's able to fight actual contender of the top 10. That would be astonishing if he can get to that point. If he beat anybody in the top 10, that would be, to me, the greatest thing he's ever accomplished.
Yeah, because historically he's fought old men.
I think he's done it the right way, because there's a possibility where 50-year-old Anderson Silva might be able to beat him. Who thought he was going to beat Tyson? I really thought, oh, Tyson's just going to go to the body and just punish his body, because I thought that that's what would win him thing, but he did not do that. I think it makes for a good matchup. He's made for great spectacle.
Former UFC champion and respected commentator Daniel Cormier criticized the JakePaul versus Tank Davis fight, describing it as dull and uninspiring. He suggested that Tank, given his status and financial stability, does not need this kind of matchup. Cormier questioned the fight's purpose, claiming it caters more to curiosity and social media buzz than to competitive advancement. In his view, the event reflects a growing trend where spectacle overshadows substance in combat sports.
Started with 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yeah.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that GervontaDavis needs money. That can't be the reason why.
He's world champion so recently. How could he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even JakePaul doing this when no one respects it? Like I can't think of anybody that respects this.
But JakePaul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by those rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, WBC and Jose Sulaiman was very upset that he wasn't going to be able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's a thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing. But with super boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA argument and Zuffa getting into boxing, our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I talked about this before. Like, I didn't know why they were fighting because, I mean, Gervonta Davis' last fight was at 136 pounds.
Commentator Showbiz. The adult noted that despite its unconventional nature, public curiosity will likely guarantee massive viewership for the fight. He pointed out that Tank's recent statements about potentially retiring have fueled uncertainty about whether the bout will actually happen. The ongoing tension between Tank and Shakur Stevenson on platforms like X, formerly Twitter, has intensified speculation as both continue trading verbal jabs that blur the line between rivalry and entertainment.
Do we think the fight is between you and JakePaul? Yeah. Or are we going to watch it? Yeah. Do we like it? Maybe. Maybe. And let me tell you why it's maybe, why it's not no, why it's not yet. It's maybe because many of us, we just don't believe it. We just don't believe the fight is real. We know it's an exhibition, but we just don't believe that you two are going to try to take each other's heads off. Other than that, it's kind of interesting. You have a 5'5" lightweight versus a heavyweight JakePaul, who's really not a boxer with an amateur background and all that shit, but he's been knocking people out. It's kind of interesting if we know y'all were trying to knock each other's heads off. And we don't know that because Mike Tyson did knock out Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, Rock Logan Paul, and they kept him standing. That shit, we get tired of that shit, right? We need confidence. Are you guys going to try to knock each other's heads off? JakePaul, when you swing at Tank, are you going to try to hit him and knock that little man over the top rope into the damn fifth eye? Are you going to try to hit him and make his ass evaporate? Or Tank, are you going to show the world that JakePaul should not be in the square circle with a real board? Are you going to try to knock his ass out, sleep him, prop him like you did Ryan Garcia, stop him the way you did Mario Barrios, knock him out like you did Leon Santa Cruz? Are we going to get a viral knockout? Are y'all going to try to...
Teofimo Lopez, a top-tier professional boxer, also shared his perspective, framing the fight as more of an entertainment spectacle than a true sporting contest. Lopez emphasized that crossover events like JakePaul versus Tank Davis are designed to capture audience attention rather than determine boxing supremacy. His view aligns with a growing belief that some modern fights prioritize showmanship, social media impact, and financial success over authentic athletic competition.
You know what I mean? I was misinformed. You know, you gotta know what somebody's going through, man, or have gone through, and where they've ended up. Now, you have to understand that. You gotta understand their DNA, you know. And we as fans, we fail to realize that. We as commentators and fanboys and all that, like, we all don't do that. We don't do our research. You know, you gotta know about somebody's history. So, like, if you understand where Tank came from, if you understand his background, then you understand how he thinks and why he feels the way he feels. You know, you do. So, I mean, for instance, like, his parents, right? His parents were drug addicts, in and out of the system, in and out of jail. You know, he lived with his grandmother. You know, like, you gotta understand when he started boxing, why he started boxing. Understand that, you know, that what the influence that Calvin has had on his life, and how if their relationship isn't great, how that affects him. If this is not making any excuses, people, this isn't. I'm not making no excuses. I'm just giving you what I think, and I'm giving you the facts surrounding all of this. You know, I remember back in 2012. You know, I'm living right. I'm living civil. I'm taking care of my business. I feel like I'm doing everything.